welcome back to the news at 10. Appeal cases in northwestern Nigeria may no longer be delayed following the establishment of the Kano division of the Court of Appeal. The facility was commissioned by the President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Zainab Bulkachua, to serve other parts of the northwest, which earlier had to rely on Kaduna State. The Kano State Governor, Abdullahi Ganduje, says the Kano Appeal Court evolved following a request by his administration. Our correspondent, Idris Jibrin, reports.
Prison congestion, high burden of appeal cases on court facilities, and delay in the administration of justice are some of the reasons for the establishment of a Court of Appeal in Kano. Before now, for an appeal from Kano, another state in the northwest, to be heard, appellant would have to go to Kaduna State.
The poor do not utilize their right of appeal, no matter how good the grounds of appeal are. I feel sad to see such kind of people that the system denied them access to justice, but the rich are enjoying the same right. The decision to have the court in the city of Kano amounts to bringing justice to the doorsteps of a common man and even the rich.
President of the Appeal Court, Justice Zainab Bulkachua, continues her tour to commission completed appeal courts, a task she performed in different parts of the country for most of the past week.
We are here to commission the 19th Division of the Court of Appeal in Kano. In the judiciary expansion, though through the establishment of new divisions, is an aspect of the judicial reform agenda, which is to enhance access to justice and speedy disposal of cases, as well as the efficient administration of justice.
Appeal cases usually referred to Kaduna State Court of Appeal will now be handled in this structure built in the Audubako Secretariat.
Most cases at the Kaduna Division of the Court of Appeal actually emanate from Kano. Our struggle to locate a division of the Court of Appeal for Kano and Jigawa has for many years been unsuccessful. But glory be to Almighty Allah for finally making our collective dreams now a reality.
With 5 judges already appointed to spearhead hearing in the court, all is set to commence sitting of appeal cases in Kano and from other neighboring northern states. Idris Jibrin, Channels Television News.
The Nigerian Gas Transportation Network Code, a set of new regulations covering gas transportation, has been unveiled by the federal government. According to the Minister of State for Petroleum, Chief Timipre Silva, the code is expected to expand the use of fuel and encourage private investment in pipelines. The code is part of the efforts to end gas flaring in the country.
The investment opportunities in Nigeria's natural gas sector abound, and increasingly it's getting the attention of players in the Nigerian petroleum industry. Government has already declared 2020 the year of gas, with the hope of exploring the nation's rich gas resources.
Something started.
Developing gas formed the major point of conversation at the 3rd edition of the Nigeria International Petroleum Summit. The Minister of State for Petroleum launches the Nigeria Gas Transportation Network Code, which is aimed at increasing domestic gas utilization and addressing the challenges of poor gas transportation network.
Code will provide open and competitive access to gas transportation infrastructure and development of the Nigerian gas sector. Also, the code will stimulate the domestic gas market, drive gas-based industrialization, and the realization of the government's aspiration to move 100 million Nigerians out of poverty.
We know that this country is a gas country. I don't need to speak much about it. But we know that we can deliver gas into this country so that prosperity can come back to this country. It's part of the focal challenge that the Honorable Minister of Petroleum, Dr. Timothy Silva, has taken on himself. That we must deal with. This is the year of gas. Gas means business, gas means prosperity, and we are going to work to make sure that that works.
According to the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Nigeria has about 202 trillion cubic feet of proven gas reserves, plus about 600 trillion cubic feet of unproven gas reserves. However, despite having the largest gas reserves in Africa, Only about 25% of those reserves are being produced.
Nigeria, as a major oil-producing nation, remains ready and accessible for legitimate investments from all interested countries, individuals, and partners. Let me assure our foreign delegates that their investments are well secured in Nigeria, and a high return on investment is always guaranteed.
The idea of the code is to monetize gas resources in the country, and government is assuring investors of security on their investments.
The Australian government is targeting Nigeria's mining and agriculture sector in order to grow the volume of her investment in the country. This is the focus of the meeting to review Nigeria-Australian bilateral relationship in Abuja. Already, the volume of Australian investment in West Africa is well over $10 billion, but only an estimated $780 million of this investment is in Nigeria.
Has a very modest but focused relationship here in Nigeria, and we really focus on the mining and education sectors in terms of bilateral engagement. So I'm working very closely with the High Commissioner based in Canberra to really strengthen the mining sector particularly, and our educational ties. I think there's a lot of opportunities much further in terms of agriculture. That's certainly an area I think we're keen to explore down the road. You've got over 10 billion of Australian investment in the mining sector. We don't have that here in Nigeria, and I want to see that change, and I see today as a real opportunity for helping that change. Mining is the quick win, I think, in terms of it's being the most progressed, but the education sector is not far behind, and agriculture too, and the other sectors the High Commissioner mentioned.
And on his part, Nigeria's High Commissioner to Australia maintains that the government is doing all it can to make it easy for foreign investors who want to do business in the country.
The bottlenecks, to me, is something that between Nigeria and Australia will sit down. That is why we call for these official talks. We want to talk frankly. We will hear from them what they need Nigerian government can do to support their companies, mining companies. We from the High Commission, we are there 24 hours. My colleagues, Ambassador Claire, the private sectors, they are always involved. We are always working hand in hand with the CIMA to make sure that all the bottlenecks that hinders foreign companies to come to Nigeria, we see what we can do from the government side to solve.
Let's take a look at some business news now, and here's Anne Waudu.
Thank you, Ijoma. Good evening and welcome to Business News. The Minister of State for Petroleum, Mr. Timipre Silva, says he plans to send a new version of the Petroleum Industry Bill to lawmakers next week. According to reports, the minister expects the bill to be passed into law by the middle of 2020, which will end years of delay that has hindered foreign investment into the country's petroleum sector. The PIB has seen various incarnations under successive administrations for nearly 2 decades, but none has managed to sign it into law. The most recent version of the bill was sent during President Muhammadu Buhari's first term, but disagreements between lawmakers and the executive led to its delay. The federal government has called for an extension in the implementation of the proposed single currency for Economic Community of West African States, the ECO, which is expected to come into effect this year. In a tweet posted during the ongoing African Union summit in Ethiopia, the president said certain criteria are yet to be met, hence the need for this extension. The presidency further hints that so far only one country in the region, and that's Togo, has met a set of tough ECOWAS monetary and economic criteria to allow it to join the proposed currency. In July 2019, ECOWAS members agreed that the region's single currency will be launched in January 2020, while a flexible currency regime will be adopted. Meanwhile, the president of Ghana, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has assured participants at the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area will be operational by March the 31st, 2020. He was said this after being selected as host country, and that's Ghana will now be working with the AU Commission to ensure an efficient process of establishing a permanent secretariat for the AFCFTA in Ghana. The Ghanaian president explains that the reconfiguration of the office premises based on the specific requirements agreed with the EU Commission has already been done. South Africa's former chief negotiator, Wamkele Mene, has emerged the first Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Now, his confirmation is coming at the end of the 33rd African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, and it follows a close contest with the Nigerian Cecilia Akintomide for the top job. The World Trade Organization diplomat was the first and lead negotiator for South Africa when the AFCFTA was being considered by the 54 countries on the continent. And now let's head to the stock market, where stocks trading at the NSE kicked off the second week in the month of February with heavier profit taking from Friday's session. Layo Adegoke has the details for us.
Thank you for joining us on the Stock Market Report. It's still negative sentiments at the stock market as the hangover of sell pressure enters the second week of February. The NSE's all-share index ended Monday's trading session sharply lower by 1.05%, while equities cap shed 154 billion naira as foreign portfolio investors swoop in on big stocks across the consumer goods, banking, as well as oil and gas sectors. 17 losers, which include the shares of MTN Nigeria, were led by 10% loss from Nestle, while 16 gainers were also led by 10% increase on Sovereign Trust Insurance share price. Now, overall, the volume of shares traded for the start of the week was moderate at 200 million units in more than 3,400 deals, largely driven by the shares of FBN Holdings, Transcorp and Zenith Bank. Well, that's it on the Stock Market Report. I'm Layo Adegoke.
Thank you, Layo. Stocks on Wall Street hit new record highs today. Solid gains from the tech shares led to a rebound from earlier declines. However, it's negative close for other major markets around the world. Let's see the figures for today. And that's Business News tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. The rest of the news at 10 continues now with Ijoma.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Anne. Still ahead on the news at 10, Chinese president makes rare public appearance amid new coronavirus outbreak as he visits health workers in Beijing treating infected patients. And we'll have more from our London studios and around the world in 5. Plus, third Edo Sports Festival kicks off to show the start and its readiness for the 21st National Sports Festival. And that's on sports. It's all coming up in a moment. Do stay with us.